The rain tapped steadily against the old bay window, casting watery shadows across the hardwood floor. The house smelled faintly of aged wood, lavender furniture polish, and something older. Memories too embedded in the walls to ever leave. It was the house I grew up in. The house that belonged to my mother. The house I believed I'd one day inherit. I had returned home to Maple Hill after years in Chicago. Life in the city had been loud, fast, and distant, exactly what I needed after Dad passed and Mom began to fade. But now, after Mom's death 2 weeks ago, I was back. Not just to mourn, but to settle her affairs, including the will. My name is Ryan Holloway, 32 years old. Software engineer. I'd always been the responsible one. The one who called every week, paid for Mom's medications when insurance wouldn't, and flew back during emergencies. My younger sister, Eliza, well, Eliza was Eliza. Free-spirited, unpredictable, charming in a way that let her get away with just about anything. She had a way of lighting up a room and burning it down right after. We were close once. As kids, we used to build pillow forts and make up stories about pirates and hidden treasure. But as we grew older, our bond began to fray. By the time we reached our 20s, we were barely speaking. Something about Eliza always felt off. Too performative, too eager to be liked. She had a way of always twisting stories to suit her, making herself the victim even when she clearly wasn't. Still, blood is blood. And when Mom died, I hoped, we'd reconnect. We sat together in the lawyer's office, leather chairs creaking beneath us as the rain intensified outside. I noticed how calm Eliza seemed, almost smug. She hadn't shed a single tear at the funeral. I chalked it up to her coping mechanism. Mr. Dawson, our family attorney for over a decade, cleared his throat and opened the manila folder. His tone was dry but firm. Your mother's final will and testament was updated 8 months ago. The document is legally binding and notarized. I'll read it in full. I leaned forward. I knew what to expect. Mom had told me countless times, "This house will be yours, Ryan. You've always looked after me." He read through a few formalities before getting to the part that shattered everything. To my daughter, Eliza Holloway, I leave the family home, all contents within, and the sum of $180,000 held in the estate account. I blinked. My ears buzzed. To my son, Ryan Holloway, I leave my late husband's wristwatch and my love. My love. That was it. I didn't speak. Couldn't. Eliza turned to me with a perfectly crafted look of surprise, like she had just heard the will for the first time. Her lips parted slightly in mock disbelief, eyes wide and glistening. "Ryan, I didn't know," she whispered. "Liar." The moment we stepped outside, I asked, "When did you convince her to change the will?" She recoiled. "Excuse me? You heard me. I didn't convince anyone. Maybe Mom just wanted to reward me for being there." "You? Being there? You haven't called her in months." Eliza crossed her arms and tilted her head. "Funny how you think you're the only one who mattered to her." The argument spiraled fast. Accusations. Denials. Half-truths. She walked away mid-sentence, leaving me on the wet sidewalk outside Dawson's office. Back at the house, her house now, I walked the halls in a daze. Every photo on the wall, every creak in the floorboard screamed unfair. I went into the living room and ran my hand along the back of the couch where Mom used to knit every afternoon. How could she do this to me? And then I noticed something odd. The glass display case near the fireplace was unlocked. That case had always been locked. Mom kept her valuable things in it. Inside were trinkets and heirlooms, but something was missing. Her silver locket, the one she wore even when she slept. Gone. I asked Eliza about it. "Oh," she said, too casually. "Mom must have misplaced it. She never took it off." Eliza shrugged. "Well, she had dementia at the end, remember? Maybe she lost it. But Mom didn't have dementia. She had arthritis and high blood pressure, but her mind was sharp as ever." That's when I felt it. The first real twinge of suspicion. Not just about the will, but something deeper. Something wrong. I lay awake that night on the guest bed, staring at the ceiling, listening to the storm outside and the occasional creak from the hallway. I thought about the locket, about the missing money Mom mentioned in her last few calls, about the way Eliza had started visiting more frequently during those last 8 months. She'd always claimed it was to help Mom, but maybe, just maybe, I pulled out my phone and opened my voice memos. Something in me whispered that I'd need to remember everything. Every word, every slip, every lie. I started recording. April 5th. Mom's will was read today. Eliza gets everything. I get her love. This doesn't feel right. I don't think Mom wrote that will, at least not without influence. Something's missing. Something more than just the house. Then I ended the recording and stared into the darkness. The storm outside had nothing on the one building inside me. 2 days after the will reading, I visited the local bank to check if any other documents or accounts were linked to Mom's name. She had always been meticulous about her paperwork, and something still didn't sit right with me. I wanted to believe she hadn't betrayed me, but the facts said otherwise. The clerk, a young woman named Dana, tapped away at her keyboard. "There's a safe deposit box registered under your mother's name," she said. It was accessed a week before her passing. I raised an eyebrow. She wasn't mobile at that point. Who accessed it? Dana glanced at the screen again. It was your sister, Eliza. She had power of attorney. My jaw clenched. Eliza had never mentioned the safe deposit box. I didn't even know she had power of attorney. That would have allowed her to make legal decisions on Mom's behalf, including updating the will. My stomach dropped. "Is it empty?" I asked. Dana nodded. "It was closed 2 days ago, right after Mom died." "Is there a log of what was inside?" "Only a basic contents form. Jewelry, personal letters, a flash drive." A flash drive? That night, I confronted Eliza in the kitchen. "You accessed Mom's safe deposit box before she passed." She didn't even flinch. "I had power of attorney. I was handling her affairs. You didn't tell me about the flash drive." Now she hesitated. "What flash drive?" "There was one listed in the contents log." "Don't lie to me." She rolled her eyes. "I don't know what was on it, and it's none of your business. I'm the executor now. That means I decide what matters and what doesn't." That was it. The calm in her voice. The way she dismissed me like a stray thought. That's when I knew she had something to hide. And if that flash drive had anything to do with Mom's sudden change of will, I was going to find out. The next day, I stopped by Mr. Dawson's office again. He greeted me with a polite nod, but I could tell he wasn't thrilled to see me. "I want to know when that will was updated and how," I said, getting straight to the point. He sighed. "Your mother came to me in person 8 months ago. She brought Eliza with her and said she wanted to make changes. Her mind was sound, and she was clear in her decisions." "But what changed?" I asked. "She always told me the house would be mine. She never said why she was changing it, only that she felt Eliza had stepped up recently and wanted to recognize that." That didn't sound like Mom. She never made decisions based on short bursts of behavior. She valued consistency, loyalty, truth. "What about the original will?" I asked. "Is there a copy?" He nodded slowly and pulled it from a file cabinet. "This one was drafted 2 years ago. In it, you were named the primary heir. The house, savings, everything." My chest tightened. "Can I have a copy?" I asked. "I can give you a redacted version. But Ryan, if you're thinking of contesting the new will, it's not going to be easy. Unless you can prove coercion or fraud, the court will uphold it." "I don't need easy. I just need the truth." Later that evening, I went back through Mom's old notebooks. She used to journal in little leather-bound books, often jotting down thoughts, dreams, and details from her day. I found one labeled December, March, the final one she ever used. Near the end, dated just weeks before she died, I found this. "Eliza brought me papers today. Said it was to simplify things. She always rushes me. I don't like how secretive she's been. Ryan hasn't called this week. I miss him. I hope he knows this house was always meant for him." That was enough. I wasn't just dealing with a manipulative sister. I was staring at what looked like deliberate deception. I needed that flash drive. So, I did something I never thought I would. I waited until Eliza left the house for her weekly yoga class, then slipped into her bedroom. I wasn't proud of it, but I was desperate. Her nightstand drawer held receipts, perfume bottles, and an old USB stick with a pink cap. Bingo! I pocketed it and slipped out. In the guest room, I plugged it into my laptop. One folder, labeled Final Will Vid. I clicked it open, and there she was, Mom, frail, in her armchair, looking directly into the camera. Her voice was thin but steady. If you're watching this, something has gone wrong. I'm recording this to say my original will was made with a clear mind. I was pressured into changing it. Eliza said if I didn't, she'd leave and take my medication money with her. I was scared and alone. Ryan, this house is yours. I hope you find this. My breath caught. It was the proof I needed. But it also shattered me. I had been right, but at a cost I couldn't measure. I backed up the video, emailed it to myself, then copied it to a secure cloud. Eliza would never see it coming. Not yet. First, I needed to plan my next steps. The next morning, I woke up with a single thought repeating in my head like a drumbeat. It's time. I brewed a pot of coffee and waited in the kitchen, the flash drive in my pocket like a burning coal. Eliza strolled in around 9 a.m., wearing that smug morning look she always had when she thought she was winning. I'm going to the lawyer today to finalize things, she said casually, pouring herself some coffee. I nodded. Sounds good. Actually, I wanted to talk to you before you go. She raised an eyebrow. About what? I slid the flash drive across the table. Her smile twitched. What's that? She asked, her voice a little tighter. I think you know. She didn't move. I found Mom's final message. I continued. The one she recorded. The one you never wanted me to see. Eliza set her mug down carefully. You went through my things? I did. And what I found makes everything very, very clear. You have no right. I have every right, I snapped. Mom was blackmailed, Eliza. She said you pressured her, threatened her with withholding her meds if she didn't sign that new will. She paled. That's a lie, she said quickly. She was confused. Probably thought I said something I didn't. She looked into the camera. She said your name. She spelled it all out. Her mask cracked. What do you want? She finally asked, voice low and sharp. I want you to undo what you did. Go to the lawyer, tell him the truth, and step down as executor. Let the original will stand. If you do that, maybe I don't release this video to the entire family. Her silence told me everything. I'm not bluffing, I said. I sent it to multiple places. One click and it goes viral. Still nothing. I'll give you until tomorrow. She turned and stormed out, slamming her mug in the sink so hard it cracked. That night, I got a call from Mr. Dawson. He sounded surprised. Eliza just called me, he said. She's relinquishing her role as executor. Said she was under stress and made mistakes. She also said you had evidence. I do, I confirmed. He sighed. Then I suppose we need to meet again. The next morning, we sat in the same mahogany-paneled room where it had all started. This time, the mood was different. Eliza didn't speak, didn't look at me. Mr. Dawson opened the original will and nodded solemnly. Ryan, your mother's wishes were clear. You are to inherit the house and her estate. I didn't smile. I just nodded. It wasn't about the house anymore. It was about the truth. But I wasn't finished. Later that week, I called a family meeting at the house. Uncles, aunts, cousins, everyone who had been left in the dark during the chaos. Eliza sat in the corner, arms folded, face blank. When everyone was settled, I stood up. I want to show you all something, I said, plugging my laptop into the TV. The screen flickered. Mom appeared. Gasps filled the room. I let the video play all the way through. When it ended, there was silence. Then one of my uncles stood up. Is this real? He asked, his voice shaking. I nodded. Yes. I found it on a flash drive Eliza took from Mom's deposit box and tried to hide. People turned to Eliza, whose face had gone completely white. How could you? One cousin whispered. She was your mother. Eliza got up and left without a word. The truth was out. Mom's name was cleared. And justice, real justice, had finally been done. But there was still one more thing to settle. A week later, I stood alone in the house. My house. I walked into Mom's old room, sat in her chair, and whispered. I kept my promise. I'd protected her legacy. And now I was going to build something new with it. Something honest. Something whole. Eliza disappeared for a while after the confrontation. She didn't answer texts, didn't return calls. I figured she was hiding from the shame, or trying to craft a narrative where she was the victim. But people already knew the truth. The video had spread quickly in the family group chats. A few relatives even sent me messages, some apologizing for doubting me, others expressing disbelief that Eliza could stoop so low. What none of them knew was that I wasn't done. I didn't want revenge, but I did want accountability. So, I went back to Mr. Dawson. She falsified the will, I said. She manipulated a dying woman, withheld medication, and intimidated her into signing it. He leaned back in his chair. Legally, this could fall under elder abuse and fraud. But we'll need more than just the video. I found some of Mom's medication logs in Eliza's handwriting. I added. There are gaps, places where doses were skipped. Mom even mentioned it in the video. He nodded. That's something. We can consult a legal expert. By the end of the week, Eliza was served with a notice. A civil case for will tampering and elder coercion. The state took an interest too. Whether it would lead to criminal charges, I didn't know. But it was enough to shake her world. When I saw her next, it wasn't in court. It was at Mom's grave. I hadn't expected her there. She looked smaller, worn down. She didn't notice me at first. Funny seeing you here, I said quietly. She flinched, then turned. What do you want now? She muttered. Nothing, I said. Just visiting Mom. Like you, I guess. She scoffed. Don't act like you're any better than me. I'm not acting, I replied. You made your choices. And now they're catching up to you. I took care of her, she snapped. You were too busy living your life to even be here. I didn't make her afraid of me. Silence stretched between us. Finally, she looked away. You're enjoying this. No, I said honestly. I wish this never happened. I wish Mom was still here, and that you hadn't lied, or stolen, or betrayed me. But you did. She stared at the headstone, her voice softer now. She always loved you more. I didn't answer. That wasn't the point. As I walked away, I realized that Eliza wasn't just trying to steal money. She had been desperate for control, for validation, for something she thought Mom owed her. But in the end, she'd lost everything that mattered. Weeks passed. The civil court ruled in my favor. Eliza was fined, barred from acting as an executor in the future, and her actions were documented in the county's legal records. Some family members cut ties with her. Others kept a wary distance. She moved out of town shortly after. I stayed in the house. At first, it was hard, every room a memory, every drawer a reminder. But slowly, I started to reclaim it. I painted the kitchen, replaced the curtains Mom always meant to update. I even started a garden in the backyard, something she always dreamed of doing but never had the strength for in her last years. Sometimes, I'd sit on the porch and talk out loud. Guess what I planted today, Mom? I'd say, tomatoes. You always wanted vine tomatoes. I imagined her smile. One day, while sorting through a box of old papers, I found something surprising, a sealed envelope with my name on it. The handwriting was unmistakable. Inside was a short letter. Ryan, if you're reading this, then somehow you made it through whatever storm is happening. I knew there would be trouble. I saw the darkness in Eliza's eyes even when she smiled. I hoped it wouldn't come to this, but I'm glad you're still standing. Keep your heart soft. Don't become like her. This home, this legacy is yours now. Use it well. Love, Mom. I folded the letter, hands trembling, and pressed it to my chest. It felt like closure, but it also felt like the beginning. I started writing again, journaling, then working on a memoir. People needed to hear stories like this, not just the pain but the resilience, the way truth can survive, even when buried under lies. The house became more than just a building. It was a symbol, a monument to honesty, to perseverance, to not letting the darkness win. And as spring came around, the tomatoes in the garden finally started to bloom. Just like me. 6 months after the court ruling, life had taken on a new rhythm. There were still days when I woke up with that familiar knot of tension in my chest, the echo of my sister's betrayal whispering through my thoughts. But the sharp edges of it had dulled with time, replaced by something more reflective, more purposeful. The house felt different now. Alive. I'd filled it with my own energy, new routines, quiet music in the morning, warm lights at night. The walls no longer carried just memories of the past. They were witnesses to healing. One crisp Saturday morning, as the first golden leaves of autumn started to fall, I received a letter in the mail. No return address. Just my name in slightly shaky handwriting. It was from Eliza. Ryan. I don't know why I'm writing this. Maybe because everything feels heavy and hollow. Maybe because I don't have anyone else left to talk to. You were always the one who saw through me, even when I hated you for it. I lost my job 2 months ago. My boyfriend left when he found out what I'd done. People don't trust me anymore, and the worst part is, I don't blame them. I've been angry for so long, I don't even know what it feels like to be anything else. I know you don't owe me forgiveness. I just needed you to know that I see it now. What I did to Mom. To you. To myself. I wish I could take it all back. Eliza. I sat with the letter for hours. It didn't spark anger. It didn't bring satisfaction. Just sorrow. Because deep down, I'd always wanted a sister. A real one. Someone I could trust. Laugh with. Grow old beside. But that wasn't who Eliza had been. And it wasn't who she was now. Still, I didn't throw the letter away. I put it in a drawer with Mom's note. 2 sides of the same story. Pain and truth. Loss and understanding. That evening, I stood in the backyard, staring at the garden. The tomatoes were gone for the season, but the soil was rich now, ready for something new. I thought about planting something else in the spring. Maybe lavender. Something calming. Something fragrant. Something that healed. That night, I dreamed of Mom. We were in the kitchen. She was humming while chopping vegetables, her face lit with soft joy. I sat across from her, watching quietly. I knew you'd be okay, she said without looking up. You sure? I asked. She smiled, finally meeting my eyes. You were always stronger than you thought. When I woke up, my pillow was damp with tears, but I felt light. Lighter than I had in years. Not long after, I decided to open the house to others. Once a month, I hosted a small support group, people who'd been through betrayal, loss, grief. We'd sit in a circle in the living room, share our stories, cry, laugh, sip tea. One woman, Marta, had been tricked out of her small business by a friend she trusted. Another man, James, was disowned by his brother after a property dispute. Different stories, same core wound. Each time, I shared a little more of mine. I watched as connection bloomed in that space. Strangers became friends. People started healing just like I had. Sometimes, I'd still hear whispers in the family, cousins unsure who to side with, old uncles defending Eliza. But it didn't matter anymore. I had the truth. I had peace. One chilly evening in late November, as I was locking up after a group meeting, I found a small package on the porch. Inside was a framed photo. It was the 3 of us, Mom, Eliza, and me, taken during a beach vacation when we were teenagers. We were smiling, arms around each other, sun-drenched and unaware of what the future would bring. Taped to the back was a sticky note. I found this and thought you might want it. You were right. About everything. Take care of yourself. E. I didn't cry. I just hung the photo in the hallway, next to one of Mom alone in the garden. Not to forget the pain, but to remember the wholeness that once was. And the strength it took to rebuild after it shattered. In the end, I didn't get my sister back. But I found myself. I reclaimed my name, my home, my story. And that was more than enough. As winter settled in, and frost kissed the edges of the windows, I curled up by the fireplace with a cup of tea and a journal in hand. I wrote, "Betrayal doesn't destroy you. It reveals you. And if you let it, it can lead you to the truest version of yourself." Then I closed the journal, looked out into the darkened yard, and whispered to the quiet night, "I'm okay, Mom. Really, I am."